But for tonight, we have Raquel Watkins-Jones, who is a dedicated professional and a coach specializing in family dynamics, parental support, adolescent development, and addiction recovery. She founded Rockstar Parenting, Rockstar Teens, and the Lovin, the Skin You're In Youth Empowerment Workshop. Raquel is devoted to equipping parents with essential tools and strategies needed to serve as an effective role models. She aims to cultivate a family legacy that will be honored by future generations. She is also passionate about aiding teens in their self-discovery and personal development, enhancing their self-esteem and their self-worth. Raquel draws inspiration from her three remarkable, resilient daughters and her beloved role as Mama Roc to 5 grandchildren. I love that, Mama Roc. That is awesome. For additional information, please visit rockstarparenting.com. I shared before that I saw Raquel present at the Stanford conference, and I immediately started texting my friend Bart, and I said, "You've got to connect me with Raquel. I've got to talk to her. She's got to come talk to the Every Brain Matters community." And here we are tonight. We are so grateful that she said yes. And I was so inspired with her the first time I heard her speak, and I know you all will be too. So Raquel, thank you for being here tonight. And I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Aubrey. This is amazing. And thank you, Every Brain Matters community. I do appreciate the invitation. So I'm a little bitty nervous. So just excuse me if you kind of see me looking down, just kind of looking at my notes so that I can stay on track and not wander off. But I am honored to be here this evening with you. And I'm actually coming to you not as a coach, but as a mom and an aunt and a friend who have experienced on different levels of cannabis, right? And so I'll tell you a little bit about my journey, how I came here, how I was to come here, why this is important to me, and what's my part now in this. So just kind of give you a little guideline. Why am I here? I am here, like Aubrey said, we were on a Stanford panel, and I couldn't believe why I was there. I was like, oh, sometimes you think the things that you go through are just little bitty, it doesn't really matter that much, or it just matters to you, right? My journey began, again, I said it starts off kind of small and it kind of builds up. So personally, I have, like Marby said, I have 3 adult daughters now. And yes, they are very resilient. My youngest, in 2003, my husband passed away unexpectedly. And, each child grieved differently. My youngest had I don't want to say had the hardest time, but it manifested that way, right? Within her behavior. So there was an immediate shift in her behavior. She was cutting school. She was, still in my car. And I was like, what is going on? What in the world? Oh, let me back up, because I need to preface this. I come from a very religious family. My father is a pastor. So kind of let that set in for a moment, right? So I'm like, God, what in the world? Why is this happening? What is going on here? And so the final straw with her was she was at a football game and passed out. And so I received a call, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So heartbroken, she was coming to work with me, right? Because I couldn't trust her at school. I couldn't trust her at home by herself. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? So, Google is your friend. And I went on Google. I'm just searching. I'm just like, how do you help your teens? I mean, I didn't even know what specifically to even look for, right? I didn't really think like drugs per se, right? Even though I knew she was like, dabbing in cannabis, it just really still wasn't on my radar that this was a problem, right? And so I found this meeting. I called one of my really, really good friends and I said, hey, I don't know how to help my daughter, but come with me to this meeting, right? It's like an hour away from us. And I actually still have the pamphlets I wanted to show you guys. This is from like 2004. I just kept them. Why I kept them at that time, I don't know, but it serves a purpose now, right? And we went to this meeting and everyone was saying, was speaking about, just all the experiences, how, their children were fighting them or, hospitalized. And I'm like, well, that's really not my experience. But, as they kept talking, I was like, oh, actually, I am kind of checking this box. I am checking this box. And I felt so bad. Like, how did I let my child down? Right now, I'm not even thinking about the part that she's grieving. I'm just like, now I'm blaming myself, right? Because now it's all about me. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? So this meeting was so productive. The next thing was, I sent my daughter to boarding school. So keep that in mind, boarding school, right? And so we go to boarding school. So the dean asked me before we arrived, should we call a transport in to transport your child? I said, no, because, I've seen on TV, right? Because I'm not in this industry or this world. I don't know. I just don't know all the negative effects of it. I said no, because all I saw was in my mind was, you're dragging your kid out in the middle of the night, right? I said, no, I don't want that to be her experience. I will take her. So we went to Montana. I said, the transport can meet me in Montana, right? So they picked us up from the airport, took us to the school. That's when I really was introduced to marijuana and every other drug. I was like, what I was super green, I had no clue because, weed is weed. Weed is weed. So she was there for a year. So the boarding school really turned out what we would call now a treatment center. And at that time, I was unaware that what a treatment center was. But what I did know in the beginning, actually before getting her there, how I was going to afford it. I'm a single mom. I'm working, paycheck to paycheck. Who's going to pay for this? And and I'm speaking from my own experience, my culture, we tend not to have these conversations. What happens in your house stays in your house type of deal. And I just went to my mother and everyone kept saying, she's going to grow out of it. She's going to grow out of it. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. And I'm like, I cannot lose my child. That was my only concern. So I went to my mother and she co-signed a loan for me, which took me years to pay off, but it was well worth it. And so my daughter was gone for a year. And today she says, Mom, that was the best thing you could have ever done for me. It was the best thing you could have ever done for me. And so from there, that was, I want to say, kind of like my introduction into the recovery world and kind of what it looks like. So from there, I have a family member who is currently still using cannabis and alcohol still. And this person, and I don't want to say their name, that's why I'm speaking like this. And so this person finally went into treatment after Child Protective Services took their child. and the child was placed into foster care. And my family, again, coming from a very religious family, at that time, again, we just didn't know what to do. Had no clue what treatment centers were, and why it needed, a person needed to be there. My family, we just didn't know. We just flat, we just didn't know. And it was quite painful to watch. And once the child went to foster care, we began scrambling at that point, especially specifically me and my daughters, because now they're adults. Like, okay, what do we do? Now I have to learn about what is substance use. What is this? I went back to school to learn about substance use disorders. What is this and how can we do this? I proceeded to get the child out of foster care, raised the child as my own with the assistance of my family, and notwithstanding any, of course, behavioral challenges and, trauma that child had experienced prior to us taking them from foster care. So it was challenging, extremely challenging, actually, and quite hurtful. What did we do as a family? Well, we started to have those hard conversations, like, what is this? And it's really challenging to have those conversations, especially when your parents, one, are older and they come from, hell and fire and brimstone, pretty much. It's like, well, we're just going to pray. We're just going to pray. Well, you got to pray and you have to have action with that. We just can't wait for something to happen, and it's not happening. So again, went to school, start studying up on it. I had a friend of mine, a dear, dear friend, actually, Maureen, who's on here now, called me and said, hey, would you like to be a sober companion? So like, what is that? I'd never heard of that before. Like, And she's like, where you just come and, be with people, be a support to people in recovery. And I'm like, I could do that. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And the reason I did it, because when you can't help your own family, I was like, what do I do? So I decided that I would pay it forward. So I took on the challenge of being a sober companion, and it actually changed my life. It changed my view of what addiction is, how it affects not only the person, that it really is a family issue, right? It's not just, that person's, he's the black sheep or she's the black sheep of the family. No, it's the family. It's the family. That not only that person needs to be healed, but the family dynamics, everything needs to be healed in order for all of us to move forward in a healthy manner and lead a productive life. So I took that on for like a year. Then within that residential facility, so now I'll move into professionally now. Now I'm a recovery coach. Like I said, went back to school, started studying more, became a recovery coach. Now I'm part of the residential treatment team there. And we had a gentleman. So now I'm not a sober companion anymore, right? Now I'm really interacting with clients. So there was a young man, 20 years old, college student. He came there and appeared, to be just very gracious and sweet and just a delight. And I'm like, oh, this is just a little bump in the road for him. That's it. He'll be fine. He can do 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90. He'll be fine. And we're talking about, because we had some shared experiences. And so we're just talking. And I'm just like, wow, this is just a delight. This young man, the next day, became extremely agitated and very, very hostile to everyone. And I'm like, what is this? What is happening right now, right? I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. And he started yelling, I only smoked weed. I only smoked weed. I hate this feeling. I mean, he's like, I'm screaming. And I'm like, in my mind, like, yes, he only smoked weed. What is going on? What is happening right now? And so that just went on and on. So much so the police had to be called, right? Because we just couldn't regulate them or anything. So we called the police came. And so at this point, because he is an African American young man, right? And actually, he and I are the only African Americans around, right? And so in that moment, I'm like, okay, police are called. What's going to happen? So I immediately switched from just like being a recovery coach, recovery assistant, whatever, to now I'm this kid's parent. I'm his mom right now because his mother's not here. That's my son. That's my son. And because I just don't know what's going to happen next. So the police come. So I stopped him at the door and I said, hey, can you just explain to me what this is going to be and what this is going to look like right now? Because you kind of know I'm not trusting you at this moment, right? And they were like, yes. And I can honestly say these were the most skilled professionals I had encountered. I was shocked, one, but I was grateful. I was grateful and how they, spoke with him and handled him. And so this was like in the evening, right? So there's no therapist around. There's no director. There's no one around, right? It's just, that's the team, right? Just there trying to handle the situation. So the police were able to calm him down and, get him regulated. So that was great. We were able to get him through the night. The next day, it started again. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening again? But this time, the therapists were there, the directors, everyone was present. Still had to call the police again. And then again, I'm back in mommy mode. Because I'm like, what's going on? How's today going to be? Right? Because it might be different officers, right? And it was, but again, they too were skilled in recovery. And I said, okay. So they were able to regulate him and transport him to a higher level of care. And I just broke my heart because I was like, what is his future going to be? Right? Is he going to be okay? And so we were in a treatment meeting. And at that time, it was revealed that he was in a cannabis-induced psychosis. And so that was my first real introduction, or at least a labeling, of what he was experiencing. And so then I'm like, is this common? And then I started hearing more stories about teens and young adults, away from college. So then I received the invitation, I started talking to other people about this and what happened. So then I received this invitation, met up with Bart and everyone to be on the Stanford panel. So I said, okay, literally, so I'm telling the same story that I told there, basically a little bit more. Once we did the story at Stanford, I literally maybe less than a week later received another call of a friend whose child was currently in cannabis-induced psychosis. 20 years old. It was like an identical story. And then so if you remember in the beginning, I was like, why? And I'm still asking God, why? What is going on? What is going on? I don't understand what is going on. So all this brings me to, and this is a perfect segue to why I want to beat this industry, this cannabis industry, why I am a fierce fighter of this because of our children, And they're bombarded, they are inundated every single minute, be it social media, these social platforms, these influencer, celebrity. I mean, it's on the bus. I mean, anywhere they go, they are just being bombarded with, flavor this, this will be great. And it's amazing, the advertisement, how they take something so simple as like the Grinch or Smurfs or whatever to entice our children, right? So it's a horrible feeling. And that's why I want to beat this. And then I do want to say one statistic that really kind of suck in for me was, so according to the 2021 National Survey of Drug Use and Health, among people aged 12 or older, an estimate of 5.8% or 16.3 million people had a cannabis use disorder in the last 12 months. 12 years old. And I know that's, what they say, you have your first drink or hit or whatever at 12. 12 years old. Yeah. I was like, wow, let that one sink in, right? So that's one reason that I am fiercely about this. So I came to the part was I stop asking God why. Stop saying why me, why my child, why my family, why my friends, why? To what is my part to play here? How can I be of service? How can I be of support? And, what's my square, right, in this big world? What's my tiny part here to play? And my tiny part was a very practical. I started a Rockstar Teens, a Rockstar Parenting. I initially started Rockstar Parenting for parents only. Because, we tend to put ourselves last. So I'm going to give parents, it's all about you. Let me build you up. But after this experience, this journey, as I said, because it is a continuing, I said, we need to shift. I need to shift this and make this more of a family coaching program. So Rockstar Teens, Rockstar Parenting. And then from there, I started going to middle schools and high schools to empower young girls, right? And so really, that 12 years old, right, that I didn't realize was doing this, we're in bathrooms vaping. So from 12 to 18, I said, well, what can I do? So I created an empowerment workshop called Loving the Skin You're In. Initially, I actually have two. It's actually called Loving the Chocolate Skin You're In, and then Loving the Skin You're In. Because we really do, sometimes have different experiences, right? And it does need to be addressed. So I have both that I offer. And so with that, and then we focus on their social emotional competencies. So that's my part. That's my little piece in this world. So it went from why to how to what and how. So that's what I do. And I just want to share my short story with you on the journey on how I got here. I do have like parenting workshops for, what parents need to know because we are unaware. We are, we might be aware of some things, but there's so much that we just don't know. We don't know. And if we can be a support and guide and a sounding board, yeah, I'm there for that. I'm there for that. So lastly, I do want to say, what did I learn from this experience? This journey. What have I learned so far on this journey? And I call it the 3 R's or the 4 R's. And one is recognize where I'm at today. Where are you? Right? In real time and telling the truth to myself. What's happening right now? So recognize where I am and accepting it. It's not a fantasy. It's something real. The second was to recalibrate. I am no good to no one. We hear the analogy all the time about the oxygen mask, we're going to put it on the child, you're going to put it on you first, right? If I put it on my child, then I'm no good to my children because I will perish, right? So I'm putting that back on myself. And what else does that mean? What other type of self-care, whether that's meditation, whether that's just, actually being in therapy myself, right? But how do I refuel? How do I recharge that battery, right? So that I can be of service. The third one would be reflect. So now that I recognize what's happening, now that I'm able to recharge myself, recalibrate, let's really reflect. What worked? Was my communication off? Was it demeaning? Was it disrespectful? Or was it empowering, right? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? Like I said, I went back to school. I had to educate myself in this industry. And then the final thing was to reset. Because now with those things, I have a clear expectation of what I want. And I know how to set healthy boundaries, right? For myself, for my family, and for those even I work with now that I can see clearly and offer hope and strength, like you said. And to create a happy life, healthy life. It's a journey. It doesn't stop. Like I said, my family member is still in their addiction. So, and it's been many, many years. And at times, that's something you just have to accept. Right? You're just there whenever they reach out to you. And regardless if they reach out to you or not, you are there. You are still sending them love. You're still sending them light. You're still praying for them that one day, and whatever that looks like, right? So I do want to leave one last quote, and then Aubrey, you can open it up. I'm really big on legacy, as Aubrey said. So I will leave this quote with you. It's from James Baldwin, the author and poet. And it's actually one of my favorite quotes. Children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them. They must. They have no other models. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for this opportunity, Aubrey, and every Brain Matters community. And I'm open for questions.
Well, thank you, Raquel. That last quote hit hard. It's such a powerful truth. And I love the 4 R's. That's amazing. And I was writing them down when you were speaking of this. I'm sure we'll have some questions about that. That was really great summary, because I think the world of recovery is so overwhelming sometimes. I love the way you put it in that. That was just wonderful. So thank you. Very inspiring, very, very truthful. And we appreciate all the love and support you give everyone around you and what you've given here too. So thank you. We'll open it up to the audience for questions, answers, comments, or just conversations. So please just unmute or raise your hand if you're free to comment. Hi, John.
It really hit home for me. You describing your family member, having this psychosis and then this anger. And it's kind of interesting, since when I was growing up and all of us, I think, people would say, oh, just, chill out, go smoke some weed and it'll chill you out.
Yeah.
But it's having now the opposite effect, at least from my experience with my daughter. And she has become, she's an angry person, way more angry. I mean, she was kind of feisty growing up with us. But I totally notice this anger now. And I think it's a direct result of, it's really not smoking pot. She's just ingesting THC. There's really no sort of ritual or passing a joint around or in a recreational party setting for my daughter. She sequesters herself in her room for days, doesn't want to see anybody, and is just hitting that pen. And so I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on, like, what is it with this new marijuana that's it's not having the desired effect? Like, she's taking it thinking that it's going to relax her. And I guess it does in the very short term, but on the back end, it like has this whiplash effect, and now it's doing anything but relaxing her.
Right. No, I totally understand that. So because I'm not a doctor, I can't diagnose that, but what I can say is they are very angry, right? And the THC definitely has a higher level now of potency than, let's say when we were younger, right, per se. And it is having the opposite effect. Have you, spoken with of course, you've probably spoken with your doctor and stuff, not a pediatrician, but an addiction counselor I really gear people towards them, or seek out a medical professional, which appears to be more and more that are specializing, especially in cannabis-induced psychosis, right?
We're having a hard time finding. My daughter's been in and out of eight different residential programs, and in the last 2 years, and almost all of them focus on alcohol, fentanyl, opioids, and this is we're not getting a lot of help from, at least in California, here in Southern California.
Well, I'm in Northern California, and I can actually agree with you because I did have a family member reach out, and I said, well, let me try a couple of people that I know. And they're like, you can try this, doctor, but the likelihood of them actually calling you back is pretty challenging. It's pretty challenging. I'm like, maybe you have to get a referral from a therapist or have the therapist call said doctor, maybe it's that type of relationship. But as an individual trying to reach out, I know that it's been challenging. But continue to do it. Continue to do it. Like, we'll find somebody. I'll still keep looking up here, email me or call me. I'm like, look, try this person. I'll try my best to find support somewhere for sure. And it's needed. I feel like this is a whole new phenomenon, right? Like they know how to deal with, like you said, fentanyl and opioids and how do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? How do I have my daughter return back to, her feisty self, not angry self,
Right.
right? And not isolate herself. And yeah, that's the challenging part, to be honest. Yes, I wish I could just say, woo, this is the answer, but I don't. I don't have the answer.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, Aubrey put some resources in the chat.
Yeah, and I'm
Aubrey.
going to put your website in there too.
Okay.
Anyone else want to make a comment or ask a question? Are you? She's asking, are you in San Diego? I think Dr. Bernie Love could get you a referral. Miss John, is that what you're?
I am, and I'm in San Diego.
Okay.
Awesome.
I would just say Aubrey knows how to get you in touch with her. And I think she could help everybody I know who's has been pleased, who's been in touch with her recommendation. She is an emergency room doctor, but I think she also knows a lot about addiction treatment.
If I can interject for a second for the people who are in California, my son has Kaiser Medi-Cal, and then I purchased a second policy for him, and we have had great success with a caseworker every week, addiction counseling, psychiatrist. They are on board with marijuana-induced psychosis. The counselor, I actually gave her Aubrey's their contact information. I don't know if she ever reached out, but they are seeing a lot of this, and they are seeing kids get better.
Well, thank you, Deborah. I can say that even the adult population here in Pueblo, my husband's doctor, she says half of her clientele are cannabis-induced psychosis.
Really? I know we. Oh, no, go, Aubrey, I'm sorry.
No, I was just like, and we're kind of brown, Colorado's, California had the medical since 96 or 97. But yeah, it's definitely a bigger issue than we understand here and what the general population understands.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my son is in the hospital now currently, but he may or may not be taking marijuana. As far as when he finally came back home, he wasn't. I couldn't smell it. Doesn't mean he wasn't taking something. He very well may have, but from just researching, and of course, like I said, I found your guys' website, which was very helpful, or YouTube page. I just thank God for that. But my question is once they, I guess the damage has been done, even if he stopped, everyone was saying, the anger, he thinks he's an archangel, and it's he believes he is there. He believes he's an archangel. He's moving tinfoil around the house with his finger, even though it's static electricity. And all we can do is really just be there for him and try to be patient. And we've been dealing with this for, God knows, I want to say almost 8 months in and out of hospitals, and he wouldn't stop because he doesn't believe he has a problem. But the last 2 months when he left, I guess he couldn't afford it. So he ended up stopping on his own, which was, I'm so thankful, but we had to find him out on the streets and try to bring him back home. But again, the anger, sorry.
Don't be able to take all the time.
Absolutely.
It's like,
But I'm just trying to understand, how long is this going to be? Because I know that no one has an answer. I got that part. But he's refusing. I'm sure he's in the hospital, and he's going to say what he's to say to get out within the week or two, because we've been doing this 6 or 7 times. Uh, uh, but mentally, like I feel, I don't know how to feel. I just don't understand how he's going to be able to get out of it, because he really believes he's an archangel. Like I don't understand. I don't know if anyone's went through that, but it's just it's crazy. Like I said, it's weird that not a lot of the information is out there, but we're selling and advertising, like you were saying earlier. There's a lot of advertisement and no one knows, and we're legalizing it, and I don't get it.
Raquel, I'll let you respond first, and I'll go after you if you don't mind.
Yeah. Thank you, Angie. And we are definitely with you for sure. It's when things, some people do recover fully, right? We just don't know. But you say he's in treatment already? He's in the hospital?
It's what you guys called the involuntary treatment.
Mhm.
It's I can kind of pinpoint the turning point. He's a veteran. He's a disabled veteran. And I thank God that a lot of his treatment, we're getting the information. I'm getting it from your page. Like I got the most information from YouTube. But I literally like drowned myself into YouTube to understand, because I couldn't get the word when I was trying to explain what was going on, the side effects alone. But as I went to me and my husband is really the strong one. I'm the one that feels guilty all the time. Like, I got to be there to help him, but we also have to have that tough love, to have the boundaries. But I went the route of involuntary. We had to go to the probate court to have him admitted. And the sad thing is, when he was admitted a few days ago, he's not on. He's not on it. He's just going through I don't know if it's called psychosis afterwards. The induced psychosis, where just out the blue, you don't have to smoke it. You can still have the effects. So he was literally playing his games when the police came, the sheriff's office came in to get him, to take him. But the reason why we had to get him admitted was the day before he was out on the streets in front of our house, as the traffic was coming. So and we felt that either he was going to jump out at the cars, or he was flagging up there. I don't know what he was doing. It wasn't normal that we had to admit him. And of course, they didn't do it the day that it was happening. They admitted him the next day when, again, he went back to normal. So, and I can tell when they came and got him, it was heartbreaking, because he wasn't in psychosis at that moment. The only good thing, I don't even think it's a good thing, but I'm sure they had the video camera on the best cameras, and he's up there with the tinfoil. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm an archangel, and he's like sitting here trying to make it move, a piece of tinfoil on his desk, and to show his power. And that was another thing on the research I was doing on YouTube. I just noticed a lot of them. Well, I believe it's social media, but there's something going around where they're believing they're naturalists. They're changing their eating habits, and what was it? It's just it's crazy. Which being a vegetarian is not crazy, because I totally get it, but bizarre. Like I'm learning, and just today, just listening, being able to join the Zoom and listening to what you guys are saying, I just thank you.
Angie, our heart breaks for you, and we understand and lean on us for support. It is true that the social media feeds into the psychosis, and I had talked to many youth or young adults or adults say they had to stop watching, get off social media, get off the internet because it was like going down a rabbit hole of the psychosis and like conspiracy theories and all that stuff. And they do change their eating habits. I don't know if you watched Kyle's video, but he was in psychosis for 2 years. And when he would come over to my house, his eating habits were very bizarre. And he would go through my cabinets and, only eat certain things. And it's very difficult. And what I can say is that there is hope. And I do know some cases where they were in psychosis for a very long time and they have stabilized. And the key is to get in an environment where he's not using anymore. So I don't know what resources you have or anything like that, but anything you can do to provide an environment for him to continue to detox off of it. And how you described how it comes back and then and then it gets better. And they definitely can play a part, especially when the police show up. They definitely can say, I'm okay. My mom is the one who's overreacting and all that. But your love for your son is what's going to pull you all through. And so we provide, working with like Raquel, and I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, Raquel, I'm turning back over to you in just a minute. Working with somebody consistently like Raquel, and I love the way Raquel said, get in touch with a professional, a counselor that understands addiction and consistently work with that counselor even on a weekly basis. I mean, my son, I'm down the road of recovery, like almost 8 years, and his last relapse, I saw a therapist weekly. And that was all last year, 2023, Thursday, 2 p.m., I was in my therapist's office and I needed that desperately, even though I already had like a really big tool bag of recovery resources. I needed that consistency with that professional. And then come to Marathon meetings, our climber support meetings we have here at Every Brain Matters, and just keep getting connected with the other families that are walking the same journey with you, and skill time strengths and a healing. And none of it's easy. Not one step of it's easy. It's hard, but don't do it alone. Do it with us. And find and connect with the other families, like Raquel and everybody, and have that consistency. So definitely, that's the two things I can say to you is start showing up if you haven't already to any kind of support meetings. And it doesn't have to be Marathon or Every Brain Matters. Like wherever you're finding that support, NAMI, parents of addicted loved ones, there's craft, there's all these different kinds of programs. And then work with a professional on a consistent basis because, the addiction, the psychosis can be relentless for quite a while. And like you had described before. So thank you for pouring your heart out with us. And I'm glad you found us. And I'm just like I said before, I'm sorry for the circumstances that brought you here. But lean on us and we'll walk beside you with us.
Thanks.
Raquel, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, you actually said everything. It really is important to find that community. And again, I too saw a therapist for 8 years. 8 years, weekly. Sometimes I know that's not sustainable for everyone, but that was the only way I could stay sane and to understand that I had other children to continue to raise. I couldn't just focus on one, and I didn't know how to do that by myself. And, you really do need to find your tribe. And Aubrey here, Every Brain Matters, is that place. And again, you can find multiple ones, not just like maybe one, but find multiple resources and outlets, because you will need it. You will need it. I mean, all of us. I did share that, my family member is still, in addiction, and they've been there maybe 10, minimum 10 years. 10 years. But I do see of late children or young adults who are experiencing CIP have been making, like Aubrey said, recoveries. And again, it could be sooner than later, but just plan for it all and build yourself up and surround yourself with that knowledge and love.
I love that, Raquel. I love that. And it's easier said than done, but one day at a time.
Absolutely.
And you'll learn all that with the recovery support groups you join. And it's not going to take all the pain away about the angst that comes with seeing your loved one in psychosis. But it'll lessen the burden a little bit, and you'll find avenues to survive this yourself. And which is very important. So we can show up as healthy as we can for our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing easy. And I've seen Linda Murphy put a resource in the chat too. So that looks like a great resource. I will copy it too.
And Linda Murphy and I will be conducting a workshop soon.
Oh.
And we will let you know once we get everything together.
If you can send it to me, I'll put it in our newsletter so people can.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
I was just going to say, this is Callie. I've been part of this group for a little while, but I think what Raquel said kind of profoundly stands out in kind of my own personal recovery is education of yourself. So lots of books, there's lots of recovery support books and YouTube video. I mean, depending podcasts, whatever it is that your method of learning is, I think that is a great resource to learn about just yourself and your role in your parent-child relationship or whoever your loved one is. And so just that education piece, and, you don't have to go on to get the degree and become the counselor and do all that. But that is an amazing path. I'm so proud that people are doing that because we need more of those. Definitely in our world to this day, we need a lot more support. And, but, personally, you can educate yourself to try to help support your loved one and then lean on those other support tools, people, counselors, specialists that specialize in it. So, I have a whole library in my room now of books and stuff. And I know Aubrey has a lot of great resources on the Every Brain Matters webpage with those types of tools. So I just wanted to say that. And Angie, you're definitely not alone. We're all walking. There's a reason we're all here and walking this path. And I'm actually dealing with a relapse. So, it's a difficult thing to try to convince somebody else that what they're doing is damaging them, but also damaging everyone around them. So just wanted to share some love to everyone.
Thank you. I'm hoping to add to our resources too. I don't know, Raquel, if you have the, just like a kind of resource page or information page on your 4 R's. Or something, or if you don't, I can help you develop it. So
you will help me develop it. Like I said in the beginning, it was just, Rockstar Parenting within the last year and a half. My coaching program has made an incredible, shift. So it's like, oh, wow. Okay, now I'm here. Here we go. Okay, let's just go. So my website doesn't reflect it yet. Give it a couple of weeks. It will. And like I said, we do still offer workshops for families and parents and teens. And I do go into the high school and middle schools.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Is it okay for me to add a comment?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Peter Komendowski from the Partnership for Healthy Iowa. When we talk about the frustration with understanding what's going on in somebody else's brain, it's really hard because we can't. I mean, of all the things we find in common in our experiences, there's so many things that every individual brain can manifest that it makes it difficult. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to deal with it, but you shouldn't berate yourself for not being able to read their minds and know what they did, because even the most astute neurophysiologist and all the studies about the brain say it is not a predictable element. There are habitual actions that we see some predictability in, but this is the reason we worry so much about marijuana. It is like spinning the dial or 52 card pickup in young minds' lives, especially in anybody's lives. And so I feel so much for your testimony and the testimony of all the frustration of understanding where a person's coming from. But it's a really difficult territory to navigate, and you honor them by trying to, but don't diminish the value of you being there just because you can't figure it out, because your being there is important. That energy gets through, just not always the way or as fast as we'd like it to.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to say, Raquel, I think you are a saint to do what you do. And with all you've been through and to do that, and may you inspire a lot of young people and families and just continue the good work you're doing. What a comment I thought earlier when people were talking about the difference between the laid back pot smoker that people imagine and the anger. I do think what it happens is whatever your addiction, if it's a substance addiction, you end up needing that substance to feel normal and continually more. And when you don't have it, you crack up. You just go crazy. And I think that's what some of these, I think that can even happen with low potency THC, lower potency. But now the addiction comes on so much faster and so much stronger with the high potency stuff. And we, as a country, this is just so crazy what we're doing as a country. And to not stop it, we've got to do everything to stop it and to educate people. And we've got a tough job out there.
It is a tough job, especially living in California. I mean, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but California, we're like, oh, we're free to do anything we want to do. Let's do it. And we are not realizing the effect, the long-term effects it's going to have on our children, on this generation specifically. We have to do whatever it takes at this moment. And like you said, the kids, they're thinking they're using it or vaping, right? I mean, when I talk to some of the teenagers, they're like, oh, I have anxiety. I just, it just calms me down. And I'm like, you're inhaling, you're smoking chemicals. And even, some of the family, their parents are like, go back to, it's just, at least they're not doing this or that. It's just still harming them, right? And we don't see the effects. I mean, we're starting to see the effects, but we just don't know what the long-term effect is. And that's what's frightening to me as well. What's happening now, but with their bodies later on.
Yeah.
And I think, through my recovery process too, just to share, a lot of times the term forgiveness comes in, and operating that I forgive, and and all of that. And it's like one of my rituals every day is waking up and forgiving this industry. Like, how can I need to on a daily basis, like, because I can't function personally if I am because I'm so angry, like, and especially meeting Angie, when another parent comes forward and says, my healthy son, her son's a veteran. And, it's like this industry is harming greatly so many people, youth and adults. And so somehow every day, and some days I'm good at it, and some days I'm just not good at it at all. And I just need to kind of stow and sit in my anger because I can't manage it. But, I'm going to forgive them today so I can show up as healthy as I can, not only for myself, for my family, for my community, and do what I can. And I love the way Raquel said, we heal in community. And that's what we're building here. We're building community. We're leaning on each other. And because no matter what we learn and how many times we learn it, I need the different perspectives. I need to hear it over and over again so I can continue to live in a place of gratitude and service and do what I can to help the families that are living in crisis.
Aubrey, thank you for that, because I personally didn't think to forgive the industry and those that have voted for it.
Yeah, I've had to show up.
I want in my daily.
I've had to show up in some hostile rooms, and say my piece. And if I don't walk in there of a place of compassion and forgiveness, I don't move well. I don't communicate well. After I'm pretty angry and upset and I kind of have an emotional breakdown, it's not, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything of this. I'm still going to work on advocacy and holding them accountable. I think as a responsible citizens of the United States of America, we need to go stop this nightmare and hold our government officials accountable, and whoever's co-signing this and enabling this and calling it medicine, and it's destroying the minds of our children. So yeah, I appreciate that. I kind of rambled a lot about that, but that's just one of the tools I've picked up to continue this work, because it's what everybody's showing up here tonight. All the work you all are doing is very, very important.
When you think about the roles that we play, this is very early in this marijuana game. And we saw how slowly the opioid epidemic responds, or even cigarettes or alcohol. We did everything, puts us in this. Sometimes we feel as if all the odds are stacked against us. But as we persist, and we continue to share compassion and love, we can do this. It may not be, I often tell people, it may not be in my lifetime, but the seeds need to be planted in my lifetime for the future generations to have a chance. And that's how we work against the wheels of bureaucracy, so to speak, is we just never quit adding more people to the community, and honor everybody whose lives have been challenged or lost with this effort so that future generations can benefit from this. Can't let them stop the talking. As every brain man, we can't let them shut us up. We can't let them stop us. We can't let them think we're ineffectual. We just know our work takes time, and we can't ever stop.
Mike.
Absolutely.
Angie, I hope you're feeling a little bit better meeting all of us.
Thank you guys so much. I definitely knew ideas. Like I told my husband, I got to get in this group. I got to listen in. I just, like I said, thank you so much. I'll probably be back next Wednesday.
Done. Good. Okay, we've gone over your time. Oh, I'm sorry, you're jetting and then dropped your
I'm so sorry. I don't know. I think on the website it said Texas, but as far as support groups, because I guess in my mind coming here was my support group, because it was the only thing that I wanted to get out of bed to do today was to do this. But on the website, that's where I would find it in my area, or I just Google.
So the Marathon groups are mostly online. I don't know what state you're in, but there is one in-person meeting in California. And I think it's north of San Francisco. But Marathon, I'll put that website in there. Every Brain Matters, all of our support groups are all online, and it's Wednesday evening at this time. So we'll have a speaker the second Wednesday of every month. And then we have Joe Parker, who's a professional counselor, where I'm a graduate of his program. Then he comes and he talks with us the other Wednesdays of the month. And then, like, if you in your area, Google Al-Anon or CRAFT or Parents of Addicted Loved Ones. And there's NAMI. NAMI would be a good place to, there you can find some in-person meetings too that way. So you're not always online. But for the most part, every Brain Matters is online, and Maranatha is mostly online. And yeah, Angie, did you say you're in California, or where are you at?
No, I'm in Georgia, Savannah.
You're in Georgia. Okay.
So I would just say most of the meetings I attend are online. I'm in rural Idaho. There's not much here. So I've done CRAFT and Every Brain Matters, and there's some other onlines too, but CRAFT has been very helpful as well.
Aubrey, it's Mary here. Just a clarification, and it's good for people in Southern California. The one in-person Marathon meeting for now, it's held in Costa Mesa, Southern California. I put it in the chat if people want it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, by the way. Yes, I appreciate that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel, for your story and sharing with us tonight. I did want to ask you, could you briefly go over what your Rockstar Parenting program is?
Yes. So Rockstar Parenting is a coaching program where we work with parents in tandem with their teens on their self-discovery journey. And so I do offer individual, family coaching or just parenting coaching as well. But where we just kind of do a deep dive into family dynamics and how can we create a healthy family with their teen. But it also does still focus on parents healing themselves, because oftentimes what's in us, we're kind of projecting onto our children. How can we heal that? And then we see that our children kind of mirroring that back to us, right? So we're just trying to create how can we heal together? How can we heal together? And and then now we added this component of addiction, right? Because now I'm getting a lot of parents whose children have experienced or in recovery. So that's a new twist to us. So we do offer probably more workshops on that. Again, one of the workshops is what parents need to know.
Okay. I'll check out your website for sure.
For sure. That part's not on there yet. Give me a week.
Okay.
But go on, still send me your email and I'll send you some information.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing good work. Thank you for what you're doing.
And we'll be sure to advertise those in the Every Brain Matters newsletters that she's getting that together so you guys can get her workshops.
And Raquel, I'll probably reach out to you. I don't know, did you put an email in the chat?
rockstarparenting@gmail.com.
Cool. I'll probably reach out to you about my show, Surviving Bad, and see if it's something you'd be interested in.
Oh, please do, Peter. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I applaud what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a journey, you guys I just tell little snippets of it, but it's been, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. Yeah. And it's also, I didn't mention this part, I have older parents now. You're still working on that aspect of it where your parents still are kind of in denial or they don't have an understanding. They're still, kind of pull yourself up by the bootstrap kind of mentality. So that's also challenging too, trying to navigate through still having parents who think this way and what really needs to happen. And us as adult children, myself, trying to have an understanding of what this new world looks like. So that's why I'm saying I've really kind of only been in the recovery part of it, as far as cannabis induced psychosis, for like this last year and a half. So this is brand new to me too, but I'm in it to win it, and I'm here to fight it all the way. Right? Save our children. Save our children. Other than thank you for your support, Aubrey. Thank you, community, for your input, your feedback. I really do appreciate it. I am here for you, for support. I mean, anyone, everyone. Again, my information is in the chat. Just reach out to me, and thank you. Thank you, Aubrey, for partnering with me, for allowing me to partner with you.